Hey everybody, today I wanted to make a video about challenging our assumptions. I've been hearing this a lot recently, and that's the bond market is no longer a good indicator of economic growth or like the markets or whatever people used to think it was because it's being manipulated by central banks. And while I think this logic is true, like let's say the central banks is buying a shit ton of bonds or it's selling a shit ton of bonds, it should be changing the natural orders of like the free market, right? It should be manipulating it somehow, pumps and dumps and whatnot. But the only problem is, I don't understand why people think it's so binary, think in such a binary manner. Why is it only, yes, it is now accurate or no, it is no longer accurate? Why is it not the bond market used to be, let's say, 90% accurate, and because of the central bank manipulation it is now only 65% accurate, but it's still decently accurate. Now all of a sudden people want to make just yes or no super binary like assumptions about what the bond market is now. But I think this is the correct way of looking at it, just saying, putting in a percentage, using like percentages, and like, it's not, it's instead of saying it's either 0% accurate or 100% accurate, you meet somewhere in the middle. I think that's a better way of looking at it. So, when I'm looking at the yield curve and I'm looking at the 30 or 5 year or the 10 or 2 years, and I'm looking at all this, I'm like, I still think this is still accurate. And certainly I understand your point why it might not be as accurate as before because of manipulation. Because if you could see over here, like the bottoms and the inversions have been getting weaker and weaker until it never even happened on the 30 and 5. So I could see what you're saying by it's being manipulated, but I still think it's relatively accurate. And same thing with a 10 2 year. I mean, the bottoms have been getting higher and higher, and it barely even cross inverted back here in 2019. So I could see why he's saying that. But at the same time, I think it's still headed in a mostly good direction, or it's still maybe not as accurate as before, but it's still like usable. You could still use it. So I think that is a super hardcore assumption that like a lot of people like to have, and I think it's not true. And also, this is the second one. A lot of people believe in this everything bubble, right? We're coming to the end of the era, or whatever people say, like, oh, it's over for America, it's over for the West, or it's end of the regime, or whatever, right? It's end of the dollar, it's hyperinflation, blah blah blah. All this stuff that people are saying now, I just like to call it the everything bubble. So everyone's saying it's going to pop soon, and we're going to have another Great Depression with hyperinflation. And in order to prepare for this, we got to figure out whether to buy, gold or oil or commodities or real estate or bonds. And do I buy like United States currency or euros or yen or renminbi? And the assumption that I'm questioning here, and challenging is, the problem is that they all assume that when shit hits the fan, there will remain free markets and ownership rights. So we saw last year with GameStop, and then more recently with nickel markets, and they've shown that when shit hits the fan and the system is in danger, you don't own what you think you own. And the way things are looking like in the near future, which is like 3 to 6 years from now, the system is getting more and more fragile. And so, GME, people can buy or sell, or people can buy, I think. And in the nickel markets, it just, major nickel companies or miners that like hedge, they got blown up because they got short squeezed, and they canceled the trading. They said all trading, whatever that happened the last like 12 hours, is no longer valid. They completely shut down the markets. So I think this has really opened the eyes to me and a lot of other people that, we've taken free markets for granted, and we've taken ownership rights for granted. So when the system is in jeopardy, which is the Western or the global financial system, and if things are really going to get as bad as you say they are going to get bad, do you think they will still allow you to operate under free markets? And you think you'll still own those shorts or those longs? Or when you buy gold, do you really own gold, or do you just own an IOU of an IOU? If you purchase a treasury, do you own that, or is it what's that word where it's like owned by like 22 times, like rehypothecated or something like that? So it's completely stupid to assume that I can prepare for this by owning something. that is part of the old financial system, when I think the old financial system is going to go down. So that is a super bad assumption that people are making, I think. And I would say maybe crypto is a better way of doing it, or I don't really know either. But I am not under some delusion that I could escape this Armageddon by buying things that are part of the old financial system. I think that's so dumb. Okay, so anyways, that was just a really quick video, and I also want to say that I am not immune to having assumptions. I definitely have a shit ton of assumptions that I haven't even uncovered yet. So I'm not trying to say I'm better than everyone, but I'm just trying to help everyone realize that these are what I think to be our assumptions. So those are my assumptions, that these are assumptions, blah, blah, blah. All right, not to get too freaking weird on you guys, but that was the video for today. Please like, please subscribe, and bye.